Warning, spoilies ahead.
I don't know if you got a good enough stuff for the cold open. Maybe
We'll
you
find
could talk.
out.
You could talk about us or us talking about the cold open.
Yeah, like us like going like, hey, when we overact and we try too hard, going like, hey, I hope this makes the cold open, that could in itself be the cold
Yeah,
open.
like Dylan had a scary revolution almost that we weren't who we are, that we were acting, but it turns out we're just actually lame in real life.
Hi, welcome to Two Guys One Film. I'm Dylan,
And I'm Dane.
and this week for the viewer's choice, we watched Van Helsing. This was brought to you by Clayton. He didn't make the movie; he just told us to watch the movie. Unless he did make the movie, I don't know.
Well,
His
we're gonna find
his
out.
his nom de plume is Stephen Sommers, written and directed by Stephen Sommers, or my brother maybe, who knows. Uh, yeah, this dude did the Mummy movies, Mummy franchises, so he's really into Universal monsters. And G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, I think. I don't know.
It's a strange
like-
like jump from
Yeah,
like
like he does some other like wacky movies, but like that might have to be a different movie. But G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra is one of those ones. I'm like, this is kind of a fun, silly movie too, but it's also really bad. Like, that's a whole different episode, whole different season. Good job, Stephen Sommers. The Mummy movies are good. At least the
Yeah.
first two. I never saw the third one, but perfect Mummy movies. Anyway, Van Helsing. He's a monster hunter, works for the Vatican, and he has been tasked with taking down Dracula because some guy made a shitty vow on his family of like, okay, none of us can go to heaven until we kill Dracula. And it's like, oh,
like that's
thanks, Grandpa.
like super weak. Like
Yeah.
nobody in my family
All right.
can
And then,
rest.
yeah. Okay, so we can't get into the kingdom of heaven. We'll just be on the outsides of it until
So they're-
someone can
So
kill Dracula.
all their souls are just chilling out there.
Yeah, for-
generations.
generations, 9 generations or whatever it is. Just like, well, I hope the next line of kids knows how to kill Dracula.
But like they have like zero knowledge on how to do it at the current point that we come
Yeah.
in.
But anyway, it starts and we're in Paris and we meet Mr. Van Helsing. And like, the thing, like, it's been a minute since
Oh,
I've
you
seen
skipped
this
you
movie.
skipped the like the intro.
Oh, the black and white
Yeah.
intro. That's right. Okay. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like it's the story of Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, and
But with like a twist.
it twists because townspeople are coming up trying to get him, and it turns out Dracula hired Dr. Frankenstein to make this creature. You'll find out why later, and kills Frankenstein. And then Frankenstein's monster's like, no.
Yeah, he's a lot more articulate.
I feel like, I mean, I think that's how he is, like, in the book or something. I don't know. I never read the book, but, like, I also feel like this dude was an opera singer, the guy who played Frankenstein's monster, because he was just like, no, like, all the whole time. They're like, Mama! Like, the
Yeah,
way
he had a very
screams,
like
he's very, like
yeah.
operatic. Like, was
He
it
might
the dude
maybe
that-
he was a singer, like because
Yeah,
like you're right, like it's very
very opera. The way he, like, just
like he
talks in
doesn't sound
general,
like a
"Oh,
he doesn't
save
sound like a
Van Helsing."
monster
No,
like at
yeah.
all. He just sounds like a very hammy actor, like a
Which
like
is
a
like-
play style actor.
Which is kind of cool. Like, I like that, where it's like, instead of him being like, like monster, he's like, no, I'm an articulate human being and I have a heart. Save Van Helsing.
I
Like,
thought it was
it
yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
Like I liked how he was put together as well. Like I
yeah,
liked
there
how
was
you
like
could
that
see
cool
like
like battery thing in his chest, and like the
You could
brain
see, like,
open,
the
there's like
yeah.
electricity, and he like puts his face together. Like,
and his cool like leg that's like a
it's-
pneumatic leg.
yeah. So anyway, Dracula kills Frankenstein.
Not a
And
drop
then
of blood on him. Even though he looks like he's about to tear him apart.
Yeah, well, he sucks it all out. Which is cool because, like, I don't know if it's then or later on. I can't remember, but, like, I think. Oh, no, there was just the sword. Like, Frankenstein, like, pulls the sword on him, and Dracula's like, you can't kill me. And he just, like, puts his chest into it and then pulls
Yeah.
himself closer. I was like, oh, fuck. And then Frankenstein's monster escapes because now Igor works for Dracula, which is the guy who played Benny in the first Mummy movie.
Oh, I was like, why does this guy's face look familiar, even though it's
Even
like
though it's like
obviously
all,
like prosthetic?
but it's the voice. It sounds like
Yeah.
Benny. Yeah, and then he snitches because he's out back, and like Frankenstein's monster is carrying to the windmill. They're going to the windmill.
I love how like in movies where it's like an old timey thing and people are gross, they always do like close ups of their teeth.
Oh, look on the windmill. Which, like, I had to think about this. Like, this was gonna be a long episode, folks. I'm sorry, but like when they get to the town later on, like when Van Helsing gets to Transylvania, it's so like gray and blue and like nobody wears colors. I'm like, was that really how it was back then? Or we were like, no, it's just normal like it is now. Like there was greenery and like the sky is blue and maybe we wore some colors, but like it's always depicted as like, oh, it's always so dirty and cold and gray and blue.
Well, the only thing I could think of as far as like colors go is like it was expensive to dye things back then.
Yeah.
And maybe they just didn't have access to it. Also,
But it's-
season might have just been cold weather.
Yeah, but it's like always depicted as like the dirtiest, coldest places ever. Every time they're like,
I know,
oh,
and
the
then-
old
but there's
Renaissance
like
time. It's like, oh, anyway,
But you know, since what's her name and her brother are like royalty,
She does have red.
scrubbed.
She does have
And
a
she
lot
has
of red.
she has red. And then, you know, Helsing comes strutting through in his nice like everything's all nice and pressed.
Leather coat.
Also, how old is that guy like in the top hat that's like a weird like creepy because like he was
Oh,
like how long has it been since the monster
I don't
and
think it's been
stuff?
too long. I think it was only like, I think they say it's like 6 months later or 3 months later or something like that. Like there's that title card between like when the windmill burns down and it falls and the Dracula's brides are all crying. But I think there's like a title card that's like, a year later or 6 months later or something. Long enough for them to like keep trying experimenting with like the key. But yeah, then we get to good old Perry and Van Helsing's open a wanted poster of himself, and then he turns to reveal that he's wearing the exact same thing, that cool mask with an eyeball on it that he never wears again, but it's
Yep.
fucking cool in the beginning. It's like,
What's-
oh, I wonder who's
what I
playing this
like,
person.
I like the music.
The guitar, like the.
But it was also like it also had like this weird like synthy like
Yeah, like
80s,
like there was like some crazy like synth beats in it, like especially at the end. There was like this like
Yeah.
but then also then like that weird
Yeah, the
over the
guitar.
top classical guitar. Like I was like watching like Desperado or like
yeah.
something like that. I was like, what's with the crazy Spanish guitar? But he's hunting down Dr. Jekyll
Oh yeah.
or Mr. Hyde, which
The
like
gigantic cigars that he just pulls
Yeah.
from nowhere
Just
apparently.
like, I don't know where, huge, all chewed up. Like, where do you buy those?
Yeah.
Or steal them? Because I guess, he's been killing a lot of people. Where do you steal big stogies like that, dude? Like,
He has
give
to
me a
roll them
Dr.
himself.
Give me a Mr. Hyde size stogie, dude. Like, where do you fucking find that?
Hell.
I rolled them myself. Oh. That sounded like Adam Sandler. That was nowhere close to what Mr. Hyde sounded like. I'm sorry. Oh, I roll my own cigars. Happy to like,
It's really
really played by Adam Sandler. Everybody thought
Yeah.
it was the guy that played Hagrid. Nope. It was Adam Sandler.
yeah.
But like, I gotta say, graphics didn't look that bad on Mr.
No.
Hyde. Like for being like what 2007 or whenever this came out,
I think it was like
pretty good.
was it 07 or was it 04? I want to say it was.
I think it was no, yeah. What was this? Oh yeah, I didn't say that. Sorry, people.
Oh,
04, yeah, shit for like 04.
yeah. It's It holds
Because
up.
even like the Mummy Returns, like, everybody makes fun of like the Scorpion King at the end. Part of it still looked good, but like all the other parts of the Mummy, I was like, this is pretty good graphics. So then, like, yeah, in this movie, I was like, there's actually some kind of like, sometimes it looks cheesy, but it works with it because it's like an over the top Universal Monsters movie.
Yeah.
But like the Dr. Jekyll looked really good. He's like swinging around, like his face movements were really good. Like it's almost better than like stuff that came out later, which is really
Yeah.
weird. And his skin looked all like gross and sweaty, and then yeah, it was strange. I
Well,
was like,
like,
man, he looks
so
pretty good.
that looked really good, and you remember in the Mummy Returns, the like the little pygmy mummies, those
Yeah,
looked really cool. And
yeah.
then you get to the Scorpion King, and
And
it
you're like,
looks so. I think what I had read or heard or like watched something on it is they had to rush that. Like that wasn't the
yeah.
original like
Yeah, because I remember seeing
concept
concept
for
art,
it.
like it's actual like scorpion, like this
Yeah.
giant thing, and they're like, I don't know, make
They
it
were
Dwayne
like, "Oh no,
Johnson.
make it look like The Rock. It needs to look like him." And they're like,
Yeah, that was probably studio interference, which but
which
hey,
is a
they
bummer because they did a really fucking cool job on everything else. They should
yeah
just let them make it. It probably would have been so much cooler.
yeah like
Again, not
it's not
dogging
their
that
fault.
movie. It's
Yeah, love
cool.
that movie. It's not their fault. They're just doing their job. It was the times. Hey, whatever. Now you're
Redo
remembered.
it. Redo
You're
that just end
remembered.
part.
Yeah.
If you
George
guys,
Lucas put some dewbacks in the background, get
you don't
some
even have to
flying
redo the whole
droids.
movie. If
Just
anybody
that, man.
like can and has access to it, just go back, put what you were gonna put in there, and then
And
just release the end of the movie. And I want to watch that part, and that's it. I don't
everything
care.
else is the same except for
Yeah,
the Scorpion King's changed.
yeah.
Put that out. And then they do a cool fight, and he cuts off his arm, and it's like nothing for Mr. Hyde. Just like, oh, arm fell off, and like I like how it shrinks back down to
Well, he
like
looks
normal
upset
size.
about it, like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you
like more
dick!"
like put
Like,
off, like,
yeah,
oh, you fucking asshole. And then I do like when the bells, and he's like, oh, the bells. And when he puts like Van Helsing underneath of it, I was like such a brilliant thing where it's like cuts the hole in the floor and he lifts up. It's like, oh, he must have went through the hole in the floor. And he's like in
right.
the bell. I was like, oh, fucking sick
It's cool.
trick,
Then
dude.
I liked his like little blade things. I
Yeah,
like
you
how to like
pump
power
him
him up.
like, yeah, that was fucking rad. But yeah, like and then they get on the roof, which like there was some cool shots, dude. Like he throws Van Helsing through the roof, and then you see like Mr. Hyde through the hole, then he like jumps up
Yeah.
through the hole, and I was like, man, that looked really good. Like I don't know why, like I was like watching it, like, man, that looked good. That was fucking cool. Like shot well and animated well. I was like, man, this is like some ballsy shots they're doing for this kind of
Like
technology.
it's cool because they took a chance, I guess, and it worked. I
Yeah.
guess like like the team behind like all the like special effects in this did a really good job.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's the same people that worked on the Mummy. But yeah, they fight in the rooftop. He does that cool like Batman grappling hook through Mr.
Through
Hyde
him.
and it stops him. And I just love his like ultimate strength where he's like 1 foot balancing on like the Notre
Well, he's
Dame or
also
whatever, and then he like
like
fucking wenches him
he's
up.
also got like his foot like ledged
Yeah,
in,
like
like
on
on
the
the little
thing.
like thing because
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at first because I thought like, man, he's holding
Man, he's
himself
got
up
some
with just one
strength.
foot, and I'm like, oh, I'm like that's a
Yeah.
cool detail though that he like
And he
grabbed
fucking
his
like yanks him back up, like, and then does that cool swing through, and like, what a dick move of like Mr. Hyde turning back to Dr. Jekyll right before they hit the ground. I'm like, dude, you
right.
could have survived it if you stayed like Mr. Hyde. I'm sure your arm fell off or got cut off, and you're like, no blood, nothing. But
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we're about to hit the ground. Better be Miss Dr. Jekyll again. It's like, oh shit, and then dead.
And then of course murder.
Yeah,
He just threw
hey,
some
Daddy,
guy
he
through
pushed him.
the room.
And
Just threw some
that's
guy through the room.
he cut this man's arm off and threw him off a roof. Like, yeah. That was
Oh
kind of
my
like that.
God.
I like how they kept bringing that up through the movie, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one that's always like called a murderer because of this shit."
It's like because I have to kill these like these things, and it turns out that they're people.
Yeah,
But they always
into
turn
their
back.
real selves. Yeah, but nobody sees what they were before. He's an
Even though
unsung
like
hero.
somebody must have seen it, otherwise they wouldn't have fucking called him out there in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Or they got news. The Vatican's underground news network.
And with the way werewolves run around, like it doesn't seem like people don't know about them.
Or at least people in Transylvania, probably because they've been having to deal with it for hundreds of years of like vampires and stuff. But
Vampires and werewolves in Transylvania. I guess it's like a
hey, it's
localized
just the thing out here, like, hey, you're from out of town. This is your first vampire, isn't it? So he gets back to the Vatican, and turns out it's like a James Bond
Right.
training R&D facility. You got Q down there, which is the guy who played Faramir in Lord of the Rings, and he's like all these contraptions, like dudes testing stuff in the background, like all this cool stuff. I'm like,
Dude, his gun
fuck
is
off.
cool.
Oh, the crossbow thing.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
how much gas is in there?
And how much arrows are like in that little drum? Like I feel like they're just like tightly packed. Like
Yeah.
yeah, because he's just like letting loose, and then I like later on I was like, man, he must have infinite ammo. Then he actually runs out and he like throws him another like arrow mag. I was like, okay, that's fucking cool.
That's like the only one that he does though.
Yeah,
Like,
he
or
only
does he
changes
refill
the,
it like a
he
few
might have like
times?
I don't know. You only see him refill it that one time, but assuming he refills it in between uses, you know. But then yeah, he gets his mission about this family that's all going to go to hell, or don't not go to hell, just not going to heaven if they don't kill Dracula, and it's down to the last two kids, a brother and sister, and Van Helsing has the ring of the insignia that's like on this little piece of scroll. Like all they have is like, I command to open the door or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like this might come in handy. I don't know. You better have it for some
Here,
reason.
put it in this bag with all
Yep.
the. Here's this other like grenade thing I made. I
Yeah,
don't know what
that
it
was
does here.
yeah. And he's like, "What's it do?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, you don't know what it does? Like, no, I just don't know what it's gonna be used for. I know what it does. It's gonna make a shitload of fucking light, bro. It's like something from Mount Vesuvius, which was cool. It was like volcanic rock from Vesuvius and stuff. I was like, oh shit, it looked like this like weird Mickey Mouse grenade. But yeah, he takes his buddy with him, the friar. I don't remember his name. Sorry,
He's a
dude.
friar,
He's a friar.
so he
And
can
like,
do
yeah.
stuff. You
And
know?
he's like the mad scientist one. He's doing all the weird like electromagnetic shit, he's got that guy getting shocked in the background when he's like pedaling and stuff like that.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like he's the crazy scientist of like, I'm using new tactics to hunt monsters. But then we're introduced to the brother and sister,
Oh yeah,
and
they're
he's all like
hunting.
tied up, like, hunting a werewolf or whatever they're hunting.
He's
'Cause,
the
Dracula
bait for a
uses-
werewolf apparently.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh dude, if you're like the prince or whatever, why don't you use like a servant as that, and then like,
Because
you and your sister
Dracula
just
sent
like
that werewolf for them. He's
Oh,
like
yeah, that's right.
specifically hunting them. So like he's like, ooh, I gotta look like, like I'm tied up, like I'm Obi-Wan in Attack of the
I don't
Clones.
understand like how they would fall for that then.
It's a dumb werewolf. It's like I was just
Well,
told
I
to
guess
get
so.
the guy.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me watch out for traps or nothing. And he does that sick backflip, and he's like up on the pole, fucking climbing a rope, and then she does this wicked reveal where she pulls her sword out and turns around all slow, and I don't know why I wrote
They
down.
all take for fucking ever to do anything, and he hangs on the rope way too long, and they're like,
so,
just
like, yeah,
get the
he has
fucking
a-
silver bullets.
Yeah,
Let's
he has
go."
a gun, which I don't understand why they didn't give everybody silver bullets. Why was he the only one allowed? I mean, other than silver's probably hard to come by, but he's like, and everybody's just lighting it up. It's like they should have all been like, oh, we should stop. He needs to get the silver gun. It's like, no, just fucking keep going, dude. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
it's like, stop it. And it's like bleeding green for some reason or something. I don't know. We've established this in that one shot it does. You never see it happen again, but everyone's just like, oh, no, fucking shoot at the box. Even the guy's right next to it too. Hope we don't hit him. We got
Yeah.
great aim. But yeah. And then
like if every one of them had like you're right. If everyone, even if silver was hard to come by, if every one
You
of
guys
them
are a
had a
rich
silver,
family.
one silver bullet,
that thing would have
at
been
least one of them would have gotten
toast. Yeah. I mean, they're hitting it too. So like, it's just like, hey, let's get a bunch. Just start throwing bullets like they were candy at this thing.
Yeah.
And we got it. And I do like when it falls in the hole, and then like when the thing comes out, and she does that sick backflip right off of it.
There's
She
a lot
like,
of backflips.
There's a lot of backflipping and flipping in general. Like,
Yeah.
flipping's easy.
She does a majority
yeah,
of the flips
like even like
too.
yeah, a lot of the like fly through the airs, like backwards, like Christ air, like
Yeah.
a skateboarding trick, and then land perfectly.
Yeah.
So do they? I'm guessing they trained their lives to be like Dracula hunters, but it's like her specialty was flipping.
Yeah. I'm really good at backflips and the catching stuff. And just doing
She's-
anything into
yeah.
a backflip or out of a backflip, You need a backflip done. You asked
call
the
her.
princess of Transylvania.
Yeah. And also, if you need to be told to run, she's the lady for you. She kept saying like, "Run!" It's like, "Oh no, shit! Oh,
Really?
there's a fucking werewolf coming at
No,
me.
you,
Oh,
you're
you're
not
right."
telling me what to do, and I would just
Yeah,
stand there and get mauled
and
by a
she
werewolf.
kept saying it too, like, "Run!" It's like, yeah, we know it's chasing us. And then I realized, I'm like, oh wait, it's just chasing her. Fuck it, I don't have to run. I'll just stand here.
Yeah.
But like so many times in the movie, she's just like yelling at the people in the town, like, "Run!" It's like, yeah, no shit, lady. I know what to do.
And
Oh,
then,
the princess told us we should run. Let's run.
well, like, so her brother kills that thing, but then also gets bitten by it
Yeah,
and
because
thrown
it's
over
like
the.
jumping at him, and he does that last minute turn, boom, shoot, which is kind of exactly what happens later on in the movie with Sir Van Helsing, and yeah, and now he's a werewolf.
Yeah. But you
Or
kind of don't
becomes one.
know, but like it
Not
kind of
yet,
it's.
because like he's
I
like
feel like
missing,
it's
right?
yeah
Like,
yeah he's yeah she thinks he's dead.
right. Oh, because they fall in that like well or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
they like, go over a cliff or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah, into the water. Like, he must be dead.
There's a lot of going over cliffs in this too, into the
Oh, there's
water.
like way too many cliffs in Transylvania.
It's very
Probably
cliff.
not a good idea to build so close to a cliff because of erosion. But
That's
yeah,
probably why they're putting their castles so they can like whip people off.
yeah.
Makes it a
It's
lot
like, see ya.
easier.
Woo. But then yeah, Mr. Hugh Jackman and Fryer show up to town, and everybody's
Everybody's
staring at him, just like,
crowding around them, all like, "Who?
yeah.
What are you guys?"
Oh, they must be vampires. Oh, they must be something.
There's somebody that we don't know. We don't like outsiders, so they don't like outsiders here. Oh, really?
Oh, I couldn't tell. Run! And like, I do like the coffin dude, which like I don't know, like he's fucking weird, but I like how he's like sizing him up with like his cane and like doing the measurements, and they keep coming back to him. It's like, this coffin's perfectly built for you. And it's
Well,
like,
what kind of
why?
pisses me off about that guy is like he doesn't let them in on some like crucial information,
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna hold it
which
back because I really want
pisses
you
me
to fill
off
up this
because like
coffin.
the rest of the town also acts pissed off about it.
Yeah,
Oh, why did you have to do that? They only take so many people, and we have like this agreement with them. And like, yeah, but you didn't say a fucking word before I started shooting.
you could have told me that, and I would have been like, hey, let's knock it off.
Like,
I'm just,
also, aren't these idiots trying to kill these guys?
yeah, no, but we'll let them handle it. We're just gonna sit back and
Like,
be
like
like,
at
hey,
this
have a
point, they're
couple
just like, all
people.
no, they haven't handled it. So this is
Yeah,
the agreement we've worked
this
out
is
with
like
the
the ninth
vampire.
generation, and it's like these dummies are obviously not gonna be doing it.
Like
Here,
this is the
take a
last
couple
two.
people
One of
once in a
them's already
while.
dead.
Dead.
Yeah, and that scene is
But
long.
oh, that fight scene,
Yeah,
like the attack. Yeah, it really is. Like you'd think like any other like first introduction of like creatures to Van Helsing, it'd be like quick one and done. Like, oh, they try to kill one and they like, you know, ding it and it gets away, and then later on you're gonna see the vampire with the one hole in its wing. It's like, this is one from before.
yeah.
But like, yeah, this is a long ass fight scene that's like drawn out. He's just like shooting arrows, it's going through their wings, and then like my
Like,
favorite is that poor random dude. So like the princess is running away from one, and like right before it grabs her, she falls down a hole, and then there's just this guy that gets picked up. He's like, whoa! It's like, the way, like the noise that he makes. I feel so sorry for the guy because he's just like casually walking, and then suddenly he's like, whoa, and then gets taken and like thrown. I was like, poor fucking guy.
like a bunch of people get like.
Yeah, but yeah, we're shooting arrows, and the cool thing I really liked was like, the friar like goes to toss some holy water, and that one bride just like throws it and it lands in the well. And you're like, oh, no big deal. But then he knows what it did. Can you guess, people, what the holy water does in the town's well?
Now all the water's holy.
Yeah, the water's holy now. Which is good because then the people would drink all that water. They would have holy water in them. So if a vampire ever came to drink them, they're like, oh.
Would that?
I don't think so. I think it's probably like direct skin contact, not just like, through secondhand holy water or something like that.
Yeah,
You know?
you can't get hurt from secondhand holy
Yeah.
water.
Just straight skin to skin, or skin to water, whatever. But yeah, so like he's trying to run to the church. Everyone's getting attacked, being held upside down by feet. And he does that cool like dips the fucking. Oh, I like how the friar tube's like, try aiming for their heart. I'm like, yeah, this fucking thing that's flying like this.
Yeah,
You want me to try
okay.
to aim? Oh, okay. Oh, got
Yeah,
it.
because he's got time to aim, and there's two other ones like on his ass.
Yeah, especially ones that are like just like taunting them, and like, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm gonna get you. Oh, I'm gonna get you.
But
Then he,
okay, so that one lands, and then those two
hmm
are like about to eat. What's her name?
yeah,
And then he dips. Like they're
does that
both
cool.
running. They're both running, and he dips it, and he turns around, and it does a last minute shot at her.
Boom. Yep. And then it gets a
Pins her
bunch
to
in
the
her
front of
and
the church, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah, like right on the roof and everything. So it's like did the whole like was it a combo of the holy water and the church? But because then there's that whole scene where like you find out the ladies like know each other because they fall through the ceiling and like the one bride turns normal and is like talking to the princess.
Hmm.
And this is a note I had is like so their clothes are their skin. Because when they're in their true form of vampires with wings,
Yeah.
then they like morph into humans, but their skin turns into like a dress and clothes.
Well, it's the same with Dracula too. Like
Yeah,
his
so like
wings, like
so his clothes are just his skin, like them too. Like it just like their skin gets all saggy, but like is like an octopus and like can change color, and it's
yeah.
like okay, that's a weird thing. I mean, it looks cool when you're morphing, but I'm just like, ew, so their clothes are just their skin. That's just like
So they
saggy
can't
little
like take it
skin.
off or anything.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess you could just change the colors, like an octopus. Vampires, octopus, same thing. It's a
Yep.
defense. You can just change the skin color. But I really wanted it to knock her out, but when the princess does that like backflip into the tree and it just slams her face against, like I was really hoping that just been like and knocked her out. She would have just been like
Man,
out for the rest of the fight.
and like when he finally does kill that vampire, like he's the first one to fucking kill a vampire in
In a
like
hundred
years,
years,
and
yeah,
she still gives him shit.
yeah, the whole town
Still,
does.
yeah.
Like, oh, I still don't know. It's like, dude, I just did something that this family hasn't been able to do for 100 years.
None of you have been
I
able to
guess I
do.
could give you a drink.
Like I'm literally a stranger.
Literally.
Like I had to get here by ship. And I killed a vampire, and you guys are acting like, oh, well, fuck you. Why'd you do that, you dickhead? Like,
I don't
why don't I
trust
just
them.
go kill the rest of them for
There's
you?
only three more now,
Yeah.
including Dracula. So, like, yeah,
Well,
it's
at this time, that's all they know. They don't realize that they're,
there's
like,
a bunch
trying
of
to
babies.
make babies.
But it's also weird that, like, the vampires, like, melt instead of burn. Like, because, like, the sun also hits her, which I do like that. How, like, they can be out in the day as long as direct sunlight's not touching
Yeah.
them. So, like, if it's obscured by clouds, they're fine. Like,
Well,
it's
same
only
with,
not at
like,
night.
being
So I
a
was like, oh,
werewolf,
that's
too.
cool. Yeah, so, like, when the moon is obstructed by clouds, you're a human.
Which, like, I always thought, like, would be just, like, so much worse if you were a werewolf. Like, if that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
because it's
case.
like, oh,
Like,
fucking clouds. I'm like, oh, God.
oh, God, that's only going to be there for, like, a few seconds. Why does it have to do this? Now I have to, like, go through the pain of transforming
Ripping
again.
my fucking skin off, literally. But yeah, it was strange that like she's being touched by sunlight, holy water in a church, and she's like melting instead of just being like
Yeah.
like in flames. But hey, it's a different way to animate a vampire dying. Blade did it where they just like turn to ash and like what, we want to try something different.
It was cool though, because she's like screaming and like looking all
Yeah,
pit. Like what I liked about it is it wasn't like, oh, I'm in so much pain. She looked like pissed at him, like
yeah.
because she was still
You
like, oh,
son
you
of a
fucking
bitch.
yeah.
You fucking found out. It's because they thought they were immortal, but man, you
Not.
pissed off the wrong dude.
Yeah, you pissed off the wrong Helsing.
The Van Helsing. I do like when, the other brides are mourning her and like Dracula's doing his speech of how he doesn't feel anything anymore or whatever. But like the way
But
they're
like
crying is
the way
like
he wakes up though, like he
like in that glass, like ice thing, like it
yeah.
melts around him. Like
Ah,
yeah.
but like if he doesn't like he does that and then he's like for the rest of the time, I don't care, whatever.
It's like you obviously do because you're yelling. You're
But
angry.
he's just trying to play it off like he's Dracula.
Yeah.
He's Dracula.
But like I do like how their crying is like reversed. Like did you notice that? Like
Yeah.
the sound of the brides crying wasn't like it was like they reversed the sound of crying. It's like and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool, dude." But yeah, that was a intense. Like, I will say, the guy who played Dracula definitely hammed it up. Like, you're
Yeah.
playing Dracula, over the top it, and you nailed it, dude. Like the Dracula, like not like that super bad, but just like his animated movements and the way he like theater acted it. It was like a
Yeah.
lot of people did like theater acting, which like it didn't make it bad because usually I fucking hate theater acting, but I'm like, you know what? It kind of works with this story because it's
Well, yeah, it's a vampire story. I don't know. I guess maybe like you get the feeling that people just did that back then.
yeah, like I don't
Even though they
know.
probably didn't.
Yeah, but it's just like it works for this kind of story because it's like it's already a silly idea of like a guy that hunts monsters. And it's like, all right, well, we might as well make it kind of goofy and over the top, but like, it worked. Cuz like even the Mummy was like that where it was like goofy in spots
Yeah.
and like sometimes it was like over the top, but it worked so
But
well.
it like when it needed to be like serious, it
It
was.
yeah. Yeah. So it's
And
like this kind of
I guess this movie did the same thing.
yeah, like when there needed to be serious moments like, all right, we can do it. And you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like most of the time it's just backflips and cool one-liners like too bad so sad like I have a note in here. I'm starting to remember it, but so Mr. Helsing wants to go find Dracula, but she's like, "I'm coming with you," and he's like, "Oh yeah, totally, let's go." And then he like chloroform sprays her in the face. But like I don't know why this is my note of like, what if it was just like aspirin? Because like the friar's just like making something and it turns out it's just like some simple compound but nobody's body has ever dealt with this before, so they're just spraying aspirin and your body's like, what is this hole? It's I never felt so good. Oh, blacks out. What is medicine? Oh, and it's like, doesn't it wasn't even chloroform. It's like, what
Yeah,
is
it's
this? Like, I don't
penicillin.
know. It's penicillin.
Oh god, I feel so good.
Yeah, and just blacks out. It's like, oh, I was just dicking around with some fucking chemicals, and I found out it knocks people out. So like, I don't know why that was an idea that went in my head. I was like, what if it's like just fucking aspirin or something? God, I'm an idiot.
Or it's bear mace.
Yeah, exactly. She wakes up, her eyes are completely sealed. Of like, oh, where are you?
I thought it was kind of weak to like knock her out though, but
Yeah,
there was a point.
and this is when you find out her brother is alive and that he's a werewolf. And I really liked that transformation scene where he's like crawling up the wall backwards. I was like, I don't know why he has this power to do it, but it's really fucking cool.
Right?
Just
Like I'm
being
sitting
able
there
to like
watching like I don't remember like werewolves being able to just like
crawl
stick
up
to stuff, but I
walls.
mean it kind of gives it like a little bit more of a like, oh fuck, this is like some supernatural like werewolf
Yeah.
shit going on.
So like that's why I like when like they're working with supernatural. They're like, fuck it, let's make it over the top, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, it makes sense to me. And just like the transformation of them just like ripping their skin off was just
Yeah,
like,
this was a cool transformation. Like this
yeah,
one, I have a few like there's another transformation scene that I really like, and it's the waxwork one.
oh yeah,
It's creepy. It's weird and it's creepy. Like you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
That kid
yeah,
that
yeah,
gets bit in the cabin, and those
yeah,
people come and like find him, and that werewolf, like the werewolf that attacks him, is creepy. But
yeah,
anyway, I like that transformation. Like he doesn't get full on werewolf, but like the way they did it makes it look super painful.
yeah,
Like to
exactly.
become a werewolf looks like it would suck ass.
And this
But
one
I
is
really
like
like that one.
you're tearing your fucking skin off.
But this one you see like the whole transformation and the skin comes off and it looks awful and
And
awesome at
like
the same time.
American Werewolf in London did that too. Like, like the skin's ripping out and it looked
Yeah.
painful and slow, but like I like how this one did it where it's just like ripping it off and it becomes
Yeah.
like huge. I was like, oh shit.
But like, okay, so here's my thing. Like, but what if they kill if they kill Dracula, doesn't that like werewolf curse like cancel out
I
as
don't
well?
think so. I think it's just that's like a different curse altogether. So Dracula only kills all vampires, but he does have a cure for lycanthropy. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I think, it'd be like if you killed the original werewolf, but I feel like the original werewolf's already dead. Like that, like werewolf is almost like it's a blood disease. Well, I guess like vampires are too, though.
Yeah. But
I
like
guess
for
when
some
you're
reason,
bit by a dog,
vampires
it's
can
just like,
like have control over a
yeah.
werewolf. Because you just
Well,
become
I think,
mindless when you're a werewolf,
yeah,
unless this you can somehow control it to kill like the
because
vampire.
he's supposed to, because he's 100,000 years old or whatever.
Okay, yeah. So we didn't get into that because he calls him Gabriel when he made.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's like, oh, what the hell are you talking
What the
about?
fuck are you talking about? Because yeah, like Van Helsing doesn't know much about his past. He's wearing this ring. He doesn't know his family. But like Dracula's talking to him. It's like, oh no, we know each other, Gabriel.
Yeah, we fought
Like
before, and it sounds like he kicked
Gabriel.
his ass before.
And it turns out that Gabriel is the left hand of God, and that he's the one that killed Dracula. And Dracula made the deal with the devil to always live, but he like craves blood. So like, does that mean Gabriel's an angel? Is he like the angel Gabriel, or is he just like this really old, powerful
Like reincarnated
entity?
angel, I think. Like he
Yeah,
just seems like he just reincarnates. Like he's a
that or
person,
like he's just been
or
that for
he's
so
yeah,
long, and he's like lost his
he just
memory because
forgets.
like you've been alive for so long, or like
It's like
something happened to
whatever,
him, and
like
he
that
just
kind of
forgot that
shit.
he's like
Yeah.
an angel.
I guess yeah, if you're immortal, like time isn't really a thing, so you don't
Yeah,
have to remember. I've always been curious about like creatures and things that are like, oh, I'm immortal, so like time is irrelevant to me. I'm like, what does that
yeah.
mean though? Like, so do you just decide to not remember things, or you just don't because it's not
There is
important?
there is a cool thing. I will go off on a tangent. The Interview with the Vampire TV show on AMC Plus. It's really, actually, really fucking good show. They kind of touch on that because, like, the reporter guy is interviewing the vampire, but in the show, it's like he also interviewed him in like the 80s, and he's like doing it again. He wants to tell his story again, but the reporter like is calling him on bullshit. He's like, "Oh, you said it's like this." He's like, he plays the thing from the 80s, and it's like, "You actually said this." And he's like, "Well, I'm so old, I can't like fucking remember things properly." And I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool." Like, he's like, "Oh, I remember it better now." He's like, "But do you though? Do you?" So like, I really like that aspect of
Well,
like, I'm
and
so
it
old, but like, I
like,
don't
and
know,
that's
do I
pretty
remember that
cool
right?
because then it kind of just goes like on the human brain. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
well, I mean, you're only gonna remember so much, and your brain's just gonna push out shit that it doesn't think
yeah. And if
is
you've lived for
worth
like
it.
hundreds of years and everything, it's like, well, I don't need to know that weird shit from hundreds of years ago. Push that out. So
Yeah,
like, it's
like
just
specific people that maybe you did
yeah,
stuff to, like it doesn't fucking matter, you know? Like
who you were.
because again, like time isn't like a thing to you. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't fucking matter. Like someone's like, well, you could go to work every day and work an 8-hour shift, but it doesn't fucking matter in 100 years.
yeah,
Because who knows
exactly.
if that business is gonna be
It's gonna be
around?
existing. Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, oh, I wasted like a couple thousand hours just like having a normal job. Just wanted to see what that was like.
Yeah, I don't need to remember it anymore. I wanted to feel like a common folk.
It's so weird. It'd be such a weird
Curse.
like curse, but like good. Like I don't know,
It'd be nice to forget.
some
I
stuff.
will say, I wrote this note that Dracula is very Willy Wonka of him to have these like weird slave workers.
Right.
He dresses them all alike. They're in weird outfits. They're like, smaller people, and they're like doing his bidding. And I was like, did he save these from from Loompa
Loompa
Land?
Land. He might have.
You know?
Maybe they are Oompa Loompas.
But then you
Maybe,
finally
but he
see one of
turned
their
them all to
faces.
vampire.
You're
They're all
like,
like fucked up.
yeah, it's just so weird. I'm like, all right, you gotta have minions. So I don't know how you made them, but
I mean,
so
he's having babies like, and somehow the brides are squeezing those big giant
those
like.
eggs out, and thousands of them. But I guess they've had a long time, because like you see the first batch of eggs.
Yeah, but how long is a gestation?
I mean, they just haven't been alive, so they've just been sitting there with the
Goo,
embryos in
like the
them,
gross like
and
little
the
bat
gross
babies.
embryos for who knows how long, hundreds of years. But they're just like, we need electricity and something to
But
bring
how do
these
you
to life.
come about that? And how the hell did he find like like figure out that like Frankenstein like was working with things
There's
like that. And
so
also, how the fuck do you think that like you're gonna strap a werewolf to the fucking like machine and
it's
that's
so
gonna
weird
power
because
him
like
up?
it needs this special power conductor of like a living being that's also like a creature and has been made, like it has to be made like a new creature, like from God but not from God, and
You
that will
have to
help my being, like my children be made. But like, yeah, what a fucking
like where
weird.
did he get that idea? He was just like, oh,
Yeah,
got it, werewolf. Strap a werewolf to that thing. Bring my kids to
boom.
life. Boom.
Well, then,
You know,
like, because, like,
like
yeah, he had Dr. Frankenstein, like, make a person that's
yeah.
got, like, a special battery in it, to, like,
But
do this,
he
like,
like escaped or whatever.
yeah, or is dead.
But like,
So
was
he's
that
like,
his
let's try to do a
plan like
werewolf.
altogether? Or
Was
was
to
he
use
just
the,
like, hey, experiment and see if you can bring something to life? If you can, then I
I'm
guess maybe,
using that thing
yeah.
because it is, like, I tricked you.
Because he
This thing is
basically
the
made
battery
a,
now.
yeah, he's a battery.
Yeah. He's
It,
always
like, it,
charged.
yeah. But it's weird because it's like, oh, then why the fuck did you think a werewolf?
I don't know. It's a weird monster, too. We'll see. It's got
I guess,
crazy
I
blood
mean, I
in it,
guess it, yeah, it was created,
Yeah.
it wasn't, it's not from God, so.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, I get it. It's just like, I don't know. That's what science is. You just throw things into it and hope it sticks to the wall. And
I
you're like,
like
I don't know,
how Igor's
werewolf?
like, I guess we're not as smart as Dr. Frankenstein then, huh?
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't have killed him. Darn it. They find Frankenstein's monster. I don't know. There's some parts of the movie that I'm forgetting. Oh,
Where were
how
we?
like,
Oh, it was like
so
after they did all that fighting and crap, and then
like how Gabriel, he knows Gabriel. And I love how everything they think that kills Dracula doesn't kill him.
yeah,
Like he puts that stake through his heart. He's like, nope, not a thing.
yeah.
And it's like cross, he just burns it. And I was like, whoa. He's like, nope, not a thing. And that was really cool of like, oh, none of these things kill Dracula.
I've
That's
noticed in a
pretty
lot of
neat.
movies like they will make Dracula like way powerful. Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
normal vampire shit doesn't normally
Yeah,
do
like the
much to them.
like the brides, they can be killed with a stake or with
Mm.
whatever. But I just like how like everything that kills anything else, he's like, nope, not this time. The monk dude ends up, sleeping with that one lady because he's a friar technically.
Well, okay, so they electrocute her brother.
Right. They wake
They
up
wake
some of
up
the
the
babies
babies. They go flying into town. They mess it up a little bit. Then they all start popping.
because it wasn't strong enough, and they just explode like balloons, just little green balloons.
And then her brother doesn't die after that, though, does he? Like, because they
No,
they
they
use the grappling hook to like swing out of there, and then he tries to go
yeah,
after them.
because yeah, he does that like goes on the fucking line and it breaks
He
and
falls in the
like yeah,
water, comes back out, chilling with
yeah,
Dracula.
again, because now it's his last transformation and he's now a werewolf
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, because she's trying to save her dingus brother the whole time, very slowly, might I add.
Yeah.
She's taking her sweet fucking time. It's like, oh my god. But I do like how ridiculous that shot is where he like shoots the grappling hook and it just goes for fucking miles and it's just like ooh, through a tree perfectly.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. Like that's way over the top, but that was fucking
I think it's
cool.
got a lot of power in it. I mean,
Yeah.
it went through a guy, so
Yeah, like through a solid fucking Hulk dude. And
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I could go for miles and go through a tree.
Uh,
But yeah, then they find Frankenstein's monster
Well, and then when they find out
underground.
that also he's been like bitten, or no,
No, that's after. That's a little later on because they're trying to get
oh yeah, that's
Frankenstein's
right, that's
monster
right.
out. Yeah.
Well,
So they
they didn't
discover him
realize he was
underground.
there
No, yeah,
because
they fell through the
they
ground
just went to
accidentally.
the. Why did they
Yeah,
go up
because
there
like,
again?
well, the ground collapses, and they're like in this cave, and he's like, "Oh, there's something down here. It looks like like a man, 7 feet, this many pounds, gold tooth." She's like, "How do you know it's a gold tooth?" He's like, "Cause he's right there." And
Yeah,
like,
and they
and that's
wrestle
when they
around,
discover
and
him because he's like, yeah,
way
and he,
more articulate than like
yeah,
any Frankenstein's monster.
yeah, and like he knows what his purpose was. He's like, "Oh, I know what I'm made for. It's to create
I
those
love the back
babies."
and forth with like the, oh, you should probably kill him. Okay, no, not no, but
No,
well,
now
you should definitely kill me. Okay, no, no.
yeah, nope, nope. I can sense that this man is not evil
He was
because I can
created by
sense
evil,
but
but
he's
he's
not
not
evil.
evil. I'm like, well, okay, I'll get on board
And
with
then he
that, I
blow
guess.
darts him and just
Yeah, like
that takes him out, but like nothing else. Just,
Well, he's
like,
not like
sleepy
taken
medicine.
out. Like that's the thing. It's like, oh, why? Because she goes, well, what do you want? And he's like, to exist, and that's when he blow darts him,
Yeah, but you should probably kill me.
and he's just like laying there.
You fools! And then yeah, because they get seen by one of the werewolf sees him. Her
Yeah,
brother.
he's in
So it's
there,
like,
and he jumps out and
fuck,
crawls away.
yeah.
And they're
Yep.
like, oh well, we gotta. They're trying to get him back to Rome. And
Yeah,
he's like,
but we also find out the friar finds that secret painting in the house.
oh yeah, and he has that weird, and it like comes to life.
It
and, like,
moves, yeah, and it shows that like Gabriel, the left hand of God, like turns into a werewolf and fights Dracula.
Yeah.
Which like the way I remember this movie is different, where like I remember it as Van Helsing was always a werewolf. He just didn't know it. So he's like the first werewolf because that is the only thing that can take down Dracula.
Yeah.
So like I remember it as like, oh, he's always been a werewolf. He just didn't know that he could turn into one, and then he turns into one. But no, he's just a regular guy, kind of, that gets bitten by a werewolf. So yeah, they're taking Frankenstein's monster to Rome, and she's like, nothing is faster than Transylvania horses.
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing.
And then they do the old switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. The old 23 skidoo that got you.
Yep.
Which I feel bad because, like, there's nothing in that cart, which is cool. You know, it jumps the magic horses too that could jump a bridge like that. Like, oh shit, these Transylvania horses are fucking
Like she wasn't fucking around.
Fuck no, dude. Like those things live up to their reputation.
But my question
that
for
was
that
such-
was like, oh, how did the other horses get on the other side if that bridge was muffed?
I think they went maybe a different way. Maybe there's a different bridge.
Because
Maybe
like he pulls up like next to them after everything's said and done. I'm like, wait a minute, how'd they get
just
across
like,
the bridge?
There was a different bridge. Why didn't you take that one? It's like I was a little busy being thrown in the fucking air,
Yeah.
and then
But
landing
no, that would
on
have
the
had to be
horses
their
magically.
fucking like their plan was for that like it felt like the plan was for that thing to go over the edge. There were
Yeah.
stakes in it.
Yeah, so it seems like they knew that bridge was out. They're like, all right, you take the good bridge, I'll take the trap bridge. Hopefully the horses can make it. Either way,
They're
the thing's
lucky,
gonna go
I guess,
over.
lucky that like those things went after him.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, because they didn't see the other buggy.
I know, but it's just like
But it was a fucking cool move.
It
of
was.
like, oh, we have to make sure the monster doesn't die, and so they go down to it, and it's just like a fucking bomb, like packed with a bunch of silver stakes, and it's like, hopefully one of them hits
I love
it.
how
and
she
it's
opens
like,
it and looks at steaks. Just imagine like a
Steaks, and
pile
they're
of
just like,
meat sitting there.
Omaha steaks. Ah. Smack with them, and they're too much.
But that was cool when she did try
Yeah.
and fly away and she gets hit with a bunch
Just
of them.
like fucking shrapnel, like landmine of a silver stakes that just like pierce her, and she does the same thing where it melts and falls into fire. I was like, whoa,
That was cool.
dude.
And then he.
But then you find out,
Oh well, and then
it's the real.
yeah, then the
The
werewolf
other one's the
comes,
real
yeah.
one, and then the top of the carriage lights on fire, which you had to make it more
Okay,
intense.
so since I had to kind of go over this again. I watched that scene a second time, and when the werewolf jumps, he kicks the lantern that was on the side up
Yeah.
on top. Because I was like, how the
Okay.
fuck did that light on fire? Like, he's a
Okay,
magic
'cause,
werewolf
yeah.
that's like, oh, she had a match too, and he was like, shh.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when he comes
Gotcha.
swinging up over the top, he kicks the little
There
lantern
is
and it goes like,
okay. There's lanterns on it. Okay, that's how it. Okay.
because
That
I
makes
was
sense now.
confused too. I was like, how, where? Like,
Where'd the
it
fire
makes it
come
more
from?
action-y and stuff, and it's cool, but like, where did that
He's
come
a
from?
fire-breathing werewolf. Gotcha. But yeah, like, and then she falls on the side, and it's like, what are you doing out there? Save me! And then he's on the other side,
About to get his
about to get
crushed
crushed
by the
fucking
wheel.
Frankenstein's monster's like, let me go, I'll help. It's just in time to whoop, save him.
Save him from his nuts getting torn off by a wheel.
And then it's like, all right, everybody fucking bail. And I'm so glad. This is what my brain immediately went to. It's like, well, what about the horses? Are they going to die because they're on, like, the carriage is on fire? But it luckily burns the reins
Yeah.
and the horses are able to escape. But they're still going to be all attached to each other. It's just fucking.
But like the thing about those
6 or
horses
8
is like
different
they're just gonna
horses, like-
wander back to town. They're not stupid. They
Yeah.
know where their house is,
But
or they're gonna
now
go to
there's-
the next town. Like, because it's
There's
like,
12 horses out there all stuck together.
But yeah, they'll make it back. That's the thing about like
It's
a
like
horse, like it'll just go back to where they're like.
as Aragorn told Sam,
Mhm.
the mines are no place for a pony. Don't worry, he knows his way back
Yeah,
home. Turns out Bill did. So these special gravity-defying fast horses will definitely know how to
yeah,
get back to
they'll go
Transylvania.
back to Transylvania, or they'll keep going to wherever town they were supposed to go.
Done. So yeah, they make it to Budapest in a day.
Fast horses.
Um, and then the vampires find him and they snatch her, which I feel really bad is because like she gets flown like all the way presumably back to Transylvania
Upside down.
upside down. And just like, man, her head's gonna be fucked up.
Oh yeah, you'd feel
But
like
yeah,
shit.
he makes that deal of like, oh, I'll give you this thing if you give me her.
Yeah.
And it's like then Frankenstein's monster's like, you fool, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
And then yeah, and he knocks him out again. But then it turns out that's not the plan. He knows. He's going to double cross him. But then Dracula knew that Van Helsing had no intention of the deal. So it's like, these guys
They
know each other.
he double crossed him.
Quadruple
Yeah.
crossed each other.
Yeah.
But like, I got to say, because like, there's the Masquerade Hallows Eve ball conveniently. Dracula got that party together fast. He's got some money and some resources because it's all
Oh, yeah.
like all vampires, the undead.
Yeah.
But he got them costumes. He got a band playing, an opera singer. We got this place rented out. We got tablecloths, lights,
You got
food,
people on stilts. You got
a fucking
entertainers.
spread. Like, man, we got like a few hours. Dracula, what are we gonna do? Set up
Party,
the best
bitch.
ball.
Let's go.
Money is of no concern. Go out
Yeah.
and get the stuff for the ball.
I'm like, you know what? You
Even
guys
though
are
it's-
working tonight, but until Helsing gets here, it's a party.
Have fun, guys. Just have fun. Like, what a cool boss. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
this is gonna be a trap, but you know what, guys? Have fun until then.
Yeah. So they show up.
And this is when like it's not heavily done, which is cool for being a Dracula thing, but it's like it's just hinted on and shown a little bit that he has the power to like control people.
Yeah.
But like certain people or something, because he like was controlling her of like how does it feel to be a puppet. But they don't like play on it a bunch and he doesn't overuse it in the movie. So it was like really cool to have that.
He doesn't need to.
He's fucking
Like, cause
Dracula.
he's got his brides. He's not really after like.
Yeah, he just wants kids. So yeah, they crash the ball. He does a cool trapeze thing, coming swinging in, does a cool flip to the other trapeze, has this amazing strength to just grab her one arm
Yeah.
and swing without dislocating. But I guess because he's like a werewolf. Oh yeah, we forgot he
Yeah.
got bit by the werewolf.
Well,
when
he's
he shoots it.
and he's kind of getting the powers now.
Yeah, because yeah, he like does choke, like cane that dude, picks him up by his throat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just like swings in, grabs her one arm, like nothing. Then it turns out everybody at the party's a vampire, and they got Frankenstein's monster.
And they come wheeling him in, and he's all like, "No, help me! Like this, you guys are all be going to hell."
Yeah.
Like he does a big
yeah.
like speech thing. While
Although I may walk the shadow of the valley of death, I will fear no evil. Like,
it's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
I think he like read the Bible because he had the Bible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's,
He
like,
had
that
a
scene
Bible.
in the okay, so like he's been just reading it and like okay,
I mean, like, what else do you do when you're like an immortal monster living under a like?
yeah.
But he
I'm just
must
glad
have been trapped in there. I mean, like,
yeah,
but
or hiding.
also, why the hell would he want to be out?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to hide so nobody finds him. But he might as well read. I'm glad that he knows how to read when he wakes up. I mean, I guess the person that he was before, that brain knew how to read. So you wake
Yeah.
up, you're like, oh, hey, I know what this is. I'm going to read this whole thing. The friar tells the news of like, hey, I did some research because I'm the smartest man here. And I like that. She's like, well, we've been trying for, hundreds of years to, find out this. Is like, yeah, but you never had me.
Yeah, did you ever try
Boom.
cracking a book? You know,
Let me
you ever
try
tried
showing
doing
you some
one?
fucking knowledge, all right?
Maybe
I
they
like
just
how I
don't know how to
keep
read.
pulling up pictures. Yeah, we have all these books we don't know how to use them. I just want to look cool. But then he finds out that it was actually his father. Dracula's father is the guy that's the cursed family, and he didn't want to kill his own son, so he's like, all right, I don't want to kill him, but I'll let other people try to kill him afterwards.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fine.
fine.
But I personally don't. I'm gonna build him this castle in ice and put him away.
Yeah, just put
I
him.
can't possibly kill my son, but others can. But we're gonna be cursed until then. But
But
I
and
just
also, I'm
couldn't
not
do
going to
it.
tell anybody where he is
Yeah, or because I still
or how
love
to get
him.
to him.
Yeah, but hey, we're cursed. We can't
Yeah,
go into heaven.
but you
until
and you
someone
also
kills
can't
him.
go to heaven until he's dead.
But I love him so much. I
Yeah.
just couldn't possibly do it. But then,
Like
yeah,
what the hell, dude? Like thinking
yeah,
about
what a
that, like
dick
you're just like,
move,
oh,
man.
dude, like fuck
You
you.
could have
Like,
ended the curse, but you're selfish, and now fucking 9 generations of people are waiting in purgatory because you're like, I couldn't do it. I was hoping one of you could. It's like,
he's
no.
like, and not only that, you've got like vampires just like harvesting people out of this town, thanks to you, and it's been going on for years and years and years, and these people are just getting used to it because there's really nothing they can do about it.
Because you took it to the grave of where he is and had to kill him because you're
Yeah.
like, but he's still my son.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and fuck everybody else, even though
Yeah.
I'm gonna die and also be in fucking purgatory, you
Yeah.
fucking idiot. Like,
Selfish
goddamn.
piece of shit. So there's this giant wall because he's like, oh, you said your father looked at this map every day to find out where, like, what if this is the door?
Yeah.
And then the little piece of scroll.
And at this
Good
point
thing
in the
he
movie,
had
I'd
it.
like totally forgotten about that. I'm like, oh hey,
Boom,
yeah,
gotcha.
okay, cool.
And then yeah, completes the picture, turns it into a wall of ice that you can like put your hand through.
That you can matrix through, and it's
Yeah.
funny because he even does that. Oh, it's cold.
Yeah. Oh, it's cold. Oh, cold.
Yeah.
Ah!
That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is like the Matrix. It's like the Matrix, buh.
And I do Maitri, and I'm glad that fire doesn't get affected by ice door. It can still go through.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
go right through. Mm-hmm. But you can't go
And I-
back once you get through.
Yeah, I like that was a cool detail of like you come out and then the friar comes out and he's like, nope, too scary.
fuck
Tries to
this.
go back and boom, just gets like, fuck, now I'm stuck here. Oh yeah, I forgot. There was that beautiful part of like, this was like, I am so sorry, folks. This is all over the place. Frankenstein's monster's on the boat and like he's trying to swim after him and he gets by the gate. He's like, I swear to God, I will find you and I'll save you. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then that's when he starts getting angry and he chokes the dude and is like,
Yeah.
did you tell the Vatican about me? Because like the Vatican wants Frankenstein's monster dead. Because they don't want him to be a tool to bring other evil to life.
And
Did
it's
you
like,
tell
well,
them
why?
about me?
Like, and it made me kind of surprised that, like, well, it's surprising that, like, they wouldn't want to be in possession of a creature with like abilities like him.
But that's smart because they're like, this is a weapon nobody should have, not even us. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the
'Cause,
ring
like,
of power
Yeah.
of like, and Gandalf's like, you can't tempt me with this ring because I will want to use it for good, but through me it will do evil. So it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, because you have like zero choice.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, we could use this to create an army of good, but it would end up being evil.
but
So
the
like,
hearts of men are so easily corrupted.
Yeah.
And it's weak, but it's fucking true because they're
Yeah.
like, oh well, now I have this army and it's all mine, and I
Yeah.
could control everything if I
I could
wanted.
make the world great if I want. So like, it was the smartest move that people have made, where it's like, no, we're gonna try to use this for evil. Let's just kill it. And I was like, wow, what a
But
way
then
to
again,
think ahead.
but then again, like they want fucking like what's his name in alive, but I mean you can turn him back to his like normal
Yeah.
human state, and that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, like maybe just study it or just like, hey, this man deserves redemption. He deserves a second chance, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it was very smart of them to be like, no, this thing's a weapon. Kill it. We don't want it.
Because that's basically, I mean, unfortunately, what
That's
he
was
is.
made for. He is
Yeah,
made for.
and even he knows it, and
Oh, yeah.
like it sucks because like, well, I mean, farther in, we'll just keep
Yeah.
going because we're getting
This
there.
is, whew, man, this is a long one. Sorry, folks. So they get into Dracula's castle, and
Where
he
they've
does
moved
that-
all of his like gear, all of Frankenstein's gear.
And I like how they get in there. He uses werewolf powers to jump up,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many torches and fires. I'm like, who lit these all?
His
Like,
minions,
there's just like
dude, his
a
Loompas.
whole- yeah, the little Loompas. Like, all right, you guys go out and light the fires. Okay.
And they also have like a general knowledge of like science too. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
they're in
they're
there
reading
working.
books.
Yeah,
They got the giant vat of dry ice. That it's for something. Could be acid.
I know. I'm
I
like,
don't
what is
know.
that for?
A poor little Loompa falls in it earlier, and
I think a
it
few people
dies.
fall in there, don't they?
You know, so like it could be acid or just the thing of dry ice to make it look cool and sciency and spooky around there. You know, you
Oh
gotta
yeah.
have
So
random
they're
Tesla
like,
coils.
what's his name? Helsing. He's hopping up the thing. And the other guys are like, I'm gonna go because they split up. He's like, go find the
There's a cure because
antidote for me.
they get Igor, and
Oh yeah, he
they
pins him to the
threaten.
wall with that.
Yeah. And like he's like, "Oh, I'll just kill you." He's like, "Oh," but like him being Benny from the Mummy, he's like, "I'll do whatever you say because I'm weak." So
Yeah.
like, you guys go get the cure because there's a cure. Because Dracula knows that only a werewolf can kill him, but only the left hand of God werewolf can kill him.
Yeah. And so he keeps a antidote just in case. And then at that point, I'm just like, why don't you keep it on you then?
Yeah, or why don't you just know who it is? Let's
Yeah.
just give it to him now so he can never become a werewolf.
Yeah, and then just kill him.
Yeah. But no, it's the game because he loves Gabriel or something. I don't know. Where he's like, we are kin, or like, like
Yeah, we're like they're like doomed to battle it out forever.
Yeah.
It's something lame like that.
But I do like how he keeps the syringe in like this viscous liquid, which I thought was like holy water at first when like she knocks it over and it sprays on that lady's face. I was like, oh, it's holy water. But then she like throws some on the bars and it melts. I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just straight up acid. Oh shit.
And then I'm like, well, okay, so what else is that syringe made out of? Because the glass, I understand, acid doesn't normally go through that, but
It's gold.
so acid can't melt gold.
It's Dracula gold.
Oh.
So
Vampire gold.
nothing could melt vampire gold.
New movie idea: Dracula, the Legend of the Vampires Gold. I have no idea what it's
Vampires
about,
Gold.
but that's a very like
It
catchy
might have
title.
pirates in it too. We don't know.
Yeah, it's
'cause
like the
they want
Goonies.
gold. Yeah. Legend of the Dracula Gold. So that bride is fighting the lady in the room.
Oh yeah,
She blows out all the torches, but there was that fucking awesome scene of like she can see her heartbeat and all of her circulatory system, and then like lightning would go off and then you could see her normal, and then when the light would go out it would go back to just like the circulatory system. I was like, that is fucking cool, dude. Whoa, like that was fucking cool.
They did that in Bram Stoker's Dracula as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because then
And I always thought that was cool, like and it made sense as far as like being a vampire. I'm like, they could totally see that and like feel it and like sense it. I'm like, even if it wasn't like picture perfect like that, like I mean that's
because even earlier Dracula was talking about to Van Helsing. He's like, your heartbeat is so calm, like he can like see where he's at. But yeah, like how she can actually just physically see all of the blood in her body. I was like, shit, dude.
But it was cool because he's just that scene where he was like talking about like how he was just so calm. He's like, normally people are freaking out, but you're just so calm about everything.
Super calm, dude.
Gabriel,
I knew it. I fucking knew it. There is a funny transition that like literally made me laugh out loud. So like Van Helsing's trying to save Frankenstein's monster. He's like, oh, I got my friends helping me. Do you want a friend? He's like, friend. Like the way he says it. And like the shit's crashing down, and lightning's hit him once or twice already. So the babies are waking up. But there's a transition from like the princess fighting the bride to suddenly like close up on a minion on fire going like, ah! Like, I don't know why, like that cut into that, I fucking lost it just because it was like the scene and suddenly like on fire on a ladder. I was like, what the fuck was that? And I love when he just throws one of them out the window,
right?
Because he's like sneaking in and that one sees him and he just like grabs it by the throat and like punches it and reveals its face.
Yeah,
and,
and
like,
he just whips it out the window.
It's like, nope, boom, just like out the window. Such a fucking great.
Or well, when they're grabbing, I'm going backwards. When they're grabbing that little syringe, the backflip she does.
Oh yeah,
catches it. Mm-hmm. But like the rest of the time, the friar's carrying it in his like cloak, like it's still got that shit all over it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because he's even picking up. He goes like hot, 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 hot.
Yeah.
But then later on, he's able to like all the acid's worn off by then. So Frankenstein monster gets out saved, but it's too late. He already got struck 3 times,
I thought
and
that
he
was cool
falls
though. Like when
down.
he's like trying to pull his leg off of that thing, the
And then
lightning
it like
slams him again.
yeah. So he gets out and falls down. For a thing that wanted to die, now he suddenly wants to live. Well, it's like, well, it's too late. I guess I could try to live now. And he ends up helping the princess and the friar by like swinging in really cool on one arm,
Well, he didn't
and
really
like
mean to. He just kind of fell off of that thing
yeah,
and then just happened to swing down there. But then he's like
yeah,
stuck,
yeah.
and
And
then
I like, well, no,
like
he gets in that tower, and he's like, "Go save Van Helsing," and he's like got the bride by like the feet, and I really wanted him to just be like whack right against the
right.
wall. Like I was just like, dude, just fucking swing her against the wall.
He totally could
She,
have.
but then that's the first time he gets a thank you in his face. She's like,
Yeah.
"Thank you." He's like,
Yeah.
"No one's ever said that to me, even though I'm only like a few months old. No one ever said thank you to me. 'Cause I'm a
Wow.
monster."
Friends. Wow.
Oh. So then, like, she's swinging. Oh, yeah, because before that, he was swinging and he saves the friar from Igor, who's got the big cattle
Yeah, he's like
prod.
sitting there like poking him with the
Yeah.
cattle prod.
And
And
so
then he
he
like
comes,
his like weird like death of him just getting
he's like
like so
still
stiff.
holding it while he's falling. He's like,
Yeah.
ah, and just like still hitting the button on it.
Yeah.
Just like, ah. And then through the mist, you see it still, like,
Well, and then that's when like the monster's like hanging there, and the friar looks over the edge, and he's like, "All help me!" And he's like, "All but you're supposed to die. I don't want to die."
okay.
Okay.
I've changed a heart. And he's like, "I'll swing you loose." Oh, and that's when he like
That's when he
swings
pushes
over.
that thing over the.
Yeah, and then he gets over and helps. What's her name?
Mm-hmm.
But it's an amazingly strong bridge, and there's like so much lightning. Luckily, there's so much lightning this night. It gets struck by lightning. The middle of it just breaks. It's only holding on by this little bit, and
Yeah.
it's like still standing. Like that's a fucking well-made bridge.
Right. That whole
That's pretty
castle is
good.
getting slammed by lightning like the
And it's just
entire
like-
time. Like it's getting hit all over. You could see chunks coming off, and you're just like,
And it's
"Damn,
still standing. Like man, Dracula's he built a strong.
it's a
ass
solid,
castle.
solid fortress."
Solid build, bro.
Nice job.
But so the friar's stuck on one side. Princess comes swinging. She's like, "Throw me the tiniest syringe. I'll be able to catch it in
Yeah.
this rain while I flip through the air." It's like, man, she's got good reflexes.
Right.
Catches it, swings the other side, and then she gets pinned down by the bride. And then the friar decides to do the worst idea. Is if you're tiptoeing a ledge, and I hate when people do this in movies. They do it like they're back facing the wall. And like he could have easily done it the other way where he's like holding onto the ledge and like your feet are stronger on the toes, dude. Like the back, the heels, you're just gonna slip. I don't know why this was the problem I had. I'm like, dude, turn around, just fucking go this way instead of being like, ooh, 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 ooh. I'm like, dude, turn the fuck around, it'd be so much easier, turn around. But then there was that cool moment where the bride just like keeps talking like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, I can't wait. And she's like, instead of like telling someone you're gonna kill him, just fucking kill him, and then just kills her. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
nice. Like instead of talking about it, fucking do it. I was
Like they do in every movie. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait to murder you slowly. Here, let me tell you about the way I'm going to do it for half an hour before I actually get to the process. Of
and then
murdering
right
you.
when I'm about to do it really slowly, oh, it
Yeah,
just
and
reminds
I'm
me.
going to take my time.
It's and once again, I'm sorry, folks. It reminds me of Sin City. Remember that yellow bastard's like, here it comes.
Yep.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. Here,
1, 2.
One
oh,
Mississippi,
You're gonna,
2
you're
Mississippi.
Gonna hate this. Oh, here I come. Hand coming back. The further I put it back, it's gonna get so much more momentum. It's gonna
I'm-
hurt.
and I'm
then,
going to slowly
boom.
cut. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's like that was like this. It was like I'm gonna drink your blood, and you're not gonna like it. And
I slowly open my mouth to make the terror like.
did I mention I'm about to kill you? And then dead. So
They
No-
just the problem is like the bad guys. They just revel in the moment for too long.
They get so excited that they have this power, and they're like, "Oh shit! Oops!"
Yeah. Whoops.
So yeah, and then she gets killed, and she melts in a gross way too. It's like this. She turns into boogers and explodes. So it's like I like how all 3 of the brides die differently, but yeah, she's like and turns into this green stuff and just and explodes like boogers. fucking clock hits midnight, and he's like, "Oh, it's on." Takes his shirt off, and then it's like, "Here comes the werewolf fight." I like how
And then his
pants,
Wolverine claws come out and
yeah,
he fights him like Wolverine.
and
That's
he
what I was
does
waiting
the
for.
Wolverine's berserker attack.
Yeah.
See what he's doing there is he's recreating Wolverine's berserker attack with his adamantium claws.
Yeah.
That's a Mallrats reference, folks. Shall we call you Logan Weapon X? No, Van Helsing. Schnicky, schnicky, schnight. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, folks. It's early in the morning. But yeah, like they have that dope ass fight scene, and like it takes forever for it to strike 12. It's like really taking its time.
Yeah.
And there's this part where like they're fighting, and like, you know, he sharpens his claws on the rocks, and he gets him up there, and he like gets a hit on him, and then he turns back into Van Helsing because the clouds.
Yeah.
And like there's this part where like Dracula gets up and he goes like that on himself. Like I don't know if it was like blood or whatever, but he's like the way he does that is like,
it's like
it's so over the top. But I was just like, did I mention that I'm Dracula and I'm overacting it?
oh boy, werewolf blood. Ooh,
Yeah, ooh,
Van Helsing's blood.
my own blood. Ooh. Like it was just funny.
Like it doesn't matter whose blood it is. If it's blood,
Yeah.
he's.
So, and then what was cool was like how fast Dracula died. Like it wasn't this like long drawn out, like really slow death. It was like, oh, back to a werewolf, pin you against the wall, rip out your fucking throat, you're dying and you're dead. I was like, whoa. No like last minute speech of like, oh, this is the end of everything. It's just like, no,
Yeah, damn it.
I'm dead.
Yeah, and then he died, and then all of his children explode again.
And they all put out the fires with their goo. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that. Like they're flying over that hall of fires I talked about earlier, blowing up into boogers
then
again, and it just like putting out the fires. There's so much. I was like, holy shit, that's a cool fucking detail to be like, okay, all the goo would put out the fires, you know?
Yeah.
So then she comes running in, and she's got the antidote, and he just fucking annihilates her and tackles her.
Yeah.
And once again, quick death for her, like not like a dying in his arms kind of death, like it's okay, I forgive you. It's like, no, she's just fucking dead.
Yeah.
He just fucking killed her, dude.
Yeah.
Because like his buddy's about to come up and stab him, and he stops him, and you see that he's got the syringe in him,
Yeah.
and you got that cool transition of him howling at the moon, and then he turns into Hughes Jacksman and is screaming.
And it's still screaming, which I thought was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
I was like,
and he
oh,
luckily still had his torn pants on, like the Hulk, you know. He
Yeah.
wasn't just naked.
full on naked.
Like, all my clothes ripped off except for my pants, which are
Yeah, just a sweet
stretchy enough
loincloth.
to expand when I turn into a werewolf. And
Yeah, if you know that you're gonna be, he put on his stretchy pants for that day.
he's like, I know I'm gonna be turning into a werewolf later tonight. Better get the elastic out because I don't want my dingus hanging out later on. That's just embarrassing. You know, she's dead. He's holding her in his arms, which was once again so cool that like there was that romance where they kissed once,
Which was
and like it
dumb,
could have
in
been
my
that
opinion.
ending. Yeah, which is so
I was
stupid. Like I'm
stop.
glad.
Like, what the fuck?
I'm glad they didn't do that typical romance of like they save the day, now they're in love, and they fight monsters together. It's like, no,
Yeah,
she's
I
dead.
was like, no,
You're
she's
like,
dead.
Oh,
And he lights her
shit.
on fire.
And you killed her.
Yeah.
And they did a nice job of curling her hair, putting her in some nice clothes before putting her on fire. I was like, well, that's really nice of them to curl her hair like that.
Yeah,
That was really
you want
sweet.
him to. You want someone to look nice, you know.
They gave her the Padme treatment, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they stood way too close to it, like Luke Skywalker did. I'm like, you are getting ash, and that thing is gonna smell awful, just like going in your face,
and
just
like you're just too close. And why would you want to be that close? It's also
Yeah.
super hot. Like that's a
Yeah,
lot of
dude.
fire. Back up.
yeah, you're breathing that person in, like that's gonna.
I just want to remember you.
But then like little bits of the ghost spirits like telling him like, look up and watch me go to heaven with my family into the
Like
sky.
the Lion King.
Yeah. Giant faces in the sky. Is everybody seeing this or just him? Like, is there like some
It's
farmer
because he's
like
breathing in that.
yeah? Is there
That's
or is
why
there
he's
just like
seeing it.
some farmer out there looking up of like, why the
What
fuck
the
is
hell
there
is
giant
that?
people
Holy
in the
shit.
sky? Just like in their
Yeah,
holy
I've always
waving
kind of
at-
wondered that in like movies too, when like people see like supernatural shit that's like huge. Is anybody
Yeah.
else seeing it?
Probably they're just like,
What the fuck was that?
I'm just gonna go back to work now.
Yeah, don't pay attention to that. It's actually for Van Helsing. It has
Oh,
nothing to
okay.
do with you.
Yeah. And now they have a religion based on the giant people in the sky, you know.
Right.
that a farmer saw. So he's the prophet of the giant people.
And also, the monster lives, and he's rowing himself away. Like, where is he gonna go?
He's gonna live his own life, and like
How?
he's just in hiding, you know. And like there could like I thought maybe they were like set up for a sequel, which they don't really set up for a sequel. There's
Which
no
is
like cliffhanger at the end. It's just them riding off in the sunset, which is kind of cool because it's
yeah,
not like they're trying to. Because it's kind of the same way with the Mummy.
yeah,
The Mummy doesn't end open ended like, oh, he might be returning. It's like, no, he's dead. Let's ride off to the sunset.
yeah. And
So
with
like,
all the gold, we got all the
yeah.
gold. Now we're gonna ride into sunset. It's
So
cool.
like, I thought this was gonna be like they were gonna be on the cliff top. They were gonna see Frankenstein's monster, and he's like, you know, the Vatican still wants him dead. He's like, well, I guess we'll just have to do a poor job of hunting him. They could have done something like that,
Yeah,
but they didn't. And that's what's fucking cool. Or it's like, no, he's just going off and live his life. Nope, there's no sequel. There could be, but there's no sequel. You know.
yeah.
Let's
'Cause it
just
doesn't
ride
have
off
to
to
be.
the sunset.
See,
with
and that's a
some...
cool way to like end a movie. Like, could there be a sequel? Totally. But
But
with
we're
the
not
way
gonna
it
bank on
ended,
it.
you don't have to.
It could just be one and done story.
Yeah.
Are you hunting monsters right now? Draculas, ghouls, and fools alike? I think you should just take a little break, kick back, and go to a website. And where do they go, Dane?
Let me tell you about that website. It's called projectnerd.com. That's project-nerd.com. You're going to find us there. You might find more vampire stuff there. But I mean, you're definitely gonna find like lots of nerdy stuff there. It's like unboxings and cosplay and movie stuff, just like us, and comedy and yeah. So
You're gonna love it.
don't miss out.
Take a break. You've been doing a lot of hard work hunting mythical creatures. Kick back, relax, go to project-nerd.com. You're gonna love it.
Rating. Let's see. The first time I watched this, I didn't really care for it. On second viewing, ever since this show, I've been a little bit more open-minded about things that I watch. And this time around, I actually enjoyed it a lot more. But I also didn't go into it as maybe I went into it too serious last time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a cool story. It's a fun story. Like it's linear. It's to the point. There's no like basically what you're seeing is what you're getting out of it. Like there's no crazy twists or anything. It's just a actiony monster hunting movie with like some kind of like there's some longer scenes. Could have been a little shorter maybe, but I'll give it a 8.5 Hugh Jackmans out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, like I remember watching this movie with my brother. He showed me this movie, which is the person who suggested this. And I remember being like, that's kind of cool, entertaining, but I was like also in that like cynical butthole mode. I was like, that's all right, I guess. It was pretty cool, whatever. But yeah, like you said, like I definitely have a different view and state of mind as far as movies, and this was fucking fun. It was entertaining. It was goofy and over the top, but like in a great way. Like it knew what it was doing, you know? Fucking effects were really cool. Story is really cool. Dracula is chewing the scenery. Loved it. And it's got Hugh Jazzman in it. So what else could you want? I'm going to give it 8.6 Hugh Jackmans out of 10. I was going to say like owls or something, but I'm pretty sure I did that for Wolf. I gave it like 2 owls or whatever.
I don't remember.
It's been a long time, folks. I was like season 3.
So long.
So Hugh Jackman's 8 point whatever I said. I don't remember
6.
anymore. It's a great fucking movie. It's fun. It's entertaining. Yeah, it's goofy, but it's just a fun fucking movie.
It's
folks.
Van
Check it out if
Helsing.
you
Like
haven't.
if
The idea in itself is goofy and
Yeah.
over the top, but it's badass. Of like, oh, dude who fights monsters.
yeah.
Cool. Say less.
Yeah.
Less. So yeah, check it out, folks. And thank you, Clayton, for the suggestion on Van Helsing.
Not a guilty pleasure.
Not a guilty pleasure. Enjoy this. It's, folks, if you're fooling yourselves if you don't have a fun time.
Seriously.
For Two Guys, One Film, I am Dylan.
And I'm Dane.
And we will see you next week.
Oh, yeah.
Ow!
So, Wolfman.
Dude, it's so Wolfman. Wolfman Jack. Wolfman Jack says Wolfman's at the door.